Hi, I'm Trolls. Welcome to Soundpaint. Welcome to Francesca. Working with Francesca was like working with an entire universe of sounds. Some singers go beyond the normal realm of singing, and that's exactly what Francesca did to me. This library contains over 850 different phrases of the wonderful, beautifully talented Francesca Genco that I had the pleasure of recording some years ago. This was about 10 hours of session material condensed down to this beautiful library. Francesca to me is somewhere in the juxtaposition between what we commonly call like cinematic vocals, but because she's been a sound healer for decades, there's just such a raw emotion inside of it. Now, if you look here at the programs, Francesca is organized in 5 different main directories. We got Ambiences, Chants, Effects, Song, and Sound Labs. We'll also notice in the parts directory here that we have Ambiences, Chants, Effects, Songs in different kind of styles. We got dark, evocative, lonely, and powerful. And granted, each of these parts has unique samples per keys. As I mentioned earlier, there's over 800 different phrases in the library. So there's a nearly infinite amount. But with Francesca, who's been working with sound healing for decades, she's much more than just a traditional singer. She's a very soulful performer, and it oozes through every single sample. We'll notice down here in the bottom of the UI that it says unique chant per key. That means we have a unique sample per key. And as we can hear in this part here, every single key has a 1-note chant. So she's singing a couple of different notes, but in the same key. And that allows us to very quickly create unique ensembles with Francesca. So for example, let's just take a random key like this one here. we can hear how she's singing in one tone, but she's just shaping the vowels. I like to go up here in sound mode and choose one note stretch, and then just click this key here. Now this key is isolated across the entire keyboard, but fully playable. And because she's shaping the vowels, it sort of becomes very fluid to play somewhat. We can quickly throw say a shimmer reverb on it, and all of a sudden we're in sort of outer space, but it's very playable and very human. It's just to show you how far we can take a single sample. Obviously, we have unique chains per key here. We can do another one. Let's take this guy. We'll go in again, click one note stretch. So this one is isolated. Here's a couple more of the chants. This is so much more than just traditional sampling. Like with sampling, I feel often that the samples get kind of static, but with Francesca, every single sample just has the full soulful performance. That level of emotional depth, it's just what makes these libraries more timeless. There's always something profound in there. This is everything that an AI wants to be, but that it will never become. Perfect imperfection. Now, within the chants here, we have 5 different playable parts that each have unique samples per key. We've been listening to the traditional chants so far, but we also have these more playful chants, a little more melodic. These are more in one note, so you'll be changing notes. Francesca just has so many different ways of shaping her vowels, her vocals. As we're stating here in the UI, she was trained both in Western and Balkan and Middle Eastern singing traditions, and she's freely weaving in and out between those in these different kind of bangs here. Just beautiful control. And beautifully tapered off with vibrato at the end there. So sweet, very playful. We also have our sound labs. I played a little bit with them in the beginning here. Let me just play a few more. This is where we're really experimenting with the vocals. We're really using all the modulations of the engine to bring forth new qualities that we haven't heard before. Let's try ambient flowy repeats and see what happens. pitch variation going on. When I'm moving the mod wheel here, we'll notice that the pitch up here is fluctuating. It's going to different directions, so we can have a single note. And then it starts splitting the more I move the mod wheel, which is why I'm sort of wiggling it back and forth here. I also created 3 different choirs out of Francesca. I call them Chants Choirs 1, 2, 3. If we notice up here in sound mode, I'm using 1 note stretch, and I'm taking that on 2 different parts here. And out of that, we get this beautiful sort of chanty choir. Now, to this point, we've been examining what we call 1 note stretch up here in sound mode that we just listened to. But we also have something called 1 note same. So in this patch here, I took 3 different drones and I assigned different pitches to them. So we have 3 different drones at 3 different octaves. And then I added these beautiful chants on top of it. So that means because we're using the 1 note same here, that the drone is not going to change its tone no matter what I play on the keys here. It's just going to trigger every single time in the very same key. That's sort of a droney thing to do. But this guy here does not possess that quality. In fact, it's completely playable. We have unique samples per key. We just happen to have 3 ambiences that will not change keys underneath. Now, here's a riddle for you. We have a program with seemingly no parts inside of it, so there should be nothing. And yet there is. And I'm noticing Francesca's unique sort of blowing, kind of fluty noise kind of thing it's on top of the notes here. You can hear it like almost like as if you're blowing like the candle of a Christmas cake, that kind of sound. Let me just mention Steve Travaglione, who created this whole bank of sweet ambiences made from Francesca recording sessions. Steve has this beautiful way of taking source recordings and mangle them into so much more. Steve has played on numerous of Thomas Newman's scores, both as a soloist but also as an ambient sound designer, and I just absolutely loves his works. We're so lucky to have it inside of Francesca and some of our other vocal libraries as well. I think with these ambiences, the best way to describe them is probably in the twilight zone between extreme ethereal angelic beauty and beautiful but sound designy shadows, if you will. It's eerie, but it's still pretty. Like for me, this is a perfect example. Like, we are in the twilight. Is this beautiful or is it a little more eerie and horror-like? And you may notice that I'm moving the mod wheel on a lot of these programs here. That's particularly because we're shaping the EQ. You may know that in Soundpaint, you can right click on any parameter and assign it to your controller. So everything is assignable to whatever you want on your keyboard. It can be these guys, faders, whatever you have. I like to do it on the mod wheel here. It's just a very sculptable thing. I'm noticing that when I'm moving the mod wheel, the EQ band is rising here. I'm also adding a little more of the plate reverb and a little more of a stereo imager. So there's a lot of stuff going on. If you're ever curious about like what on earth is going on when I'm moving the mod wheel here, I want to learn more about it. Just click here on the matrix and it will show you what's going on here. We'll notice that the EQ band, the stereo imager, and the reverb are all assigned to CC1, which happens to be my mod wheel. We can also go in here and adjust them in real time from the matrix as well. within our songs category, we both have dark, evocative, lonely, and very powerful styles of songs that just to offer you a menu of different kind of vibes and emotional textures, if you will. Let's begin here with the dark. So I'm sort of hearing a dark and somber-like quality in this one here. Let's try the second one here. Let me just try to throw a shimmer verb on this guy here. Let's use time stretcher in this guy here. It just has a very sort of Middle Eastern deserty kind of quality. We have this cool trick in Soundpaint. If you take the time stretcher here and you move it all the way down, we're actually freezing the sound so she'll sing forever. I like doing this sometimes together with the one note stretch because I now have like a sort of keyboard instrument, if you will, that'll last forever. Like, to me, this is the essence of Soundpaint. We also have these evocative songs. I find them a little bit different than dark, even though they're dark as well, but they have a little more sort of swelling quality to them. Isn't that just beautiful? There's a lot of stuff going on in this phrase here. First, like natural singing, then it sort of gets like hoarse on the very tail end of the sample. It's just so beautiful, inherently like raw humanity in this whole string of vowels that are morphed by our real human being. I mean, something that sweet deserves the one note stretch. Just too beautiful. So sweet. I remember interviewing Francesca when we were in the sessions. The interview is on Soundpaint if you want to listen to it as well, where she speaks about her whole journey being a sound healer for decades, both sort of connected to yoga Sanskrit, ancient practices that are now moved forward in time with all the wisdoms we've learned from many music traditions, some thousands of years old, languages that were before anything we know about today. There are many times I find that the past sound more modern than modern does. Maybe that's one of the beautiful free forms about music, you know? Isn't that just a perfect voice? Francesca both masters the Western sort of style of music. We've been venturing a little bit into Balkan, Middle Eastern territory as well. But she's equally good at having temperament over her voice. This is super soft, but she can go all the way over to become super powerful. Francesca's been used in countless of trailers. When this library was first released, it actually ended up being some of these samples in the first Avatar trailer, and that led to a variety of other trailers and people discovering how powerful Francesca's voice really is, both in terms of being that soft, fluty, emotional quality. It can be dark, it can be exotic and mystic, but it can also be straight powerful with all those things inside of it as well. Check these out. Such a beautiful vibrato. First, the vibrato is strong on that end note, then it gets soft, and then there's a little bit like she's giving that last gasp of air at the very tail end. Check it out. When you take a few of these samples, put them into your epic score, you're gonna get a whole other sensation of epicness inside of it. Someone really burning through in the best possible way. There really is a lot to show in this library here. Over 800 different phrases and also percussive sounds. We have breaths. We have like mouth sounds, particularly for warming up. And what is better than take a sound like that and put it in the time stretcher? Oh my goodness. Let's use one note stretch on this guy here. We have singing beats. Almost like tabla-like qualities. How cool to use like kind of sounds for percussive and singing, blending the two. Just so sweet. We also got whispers both in high range and low range. Those were the ones that we explored down here in the incantation whispers. They're really cool with like reverb on them. There's an infinite ways of utilizing this library, and for me it's perfect in Soundpaint because it allows me just to do more, get closer to Francesca in a way, get closer to the samples. I'm meeting the samples in a space I haven't met them before, if you will. And just to wrap it up here, let me just put one of Steven's beautiful ambiences in the background. This is Francesca. The library was recorded some years ago, but I think it has a timeless quality to it. It's almost as if when we really work with great performers that each of them are a whole sonic universe on their own, to which it would take a lifetime to explore. And I just hope that I've scratched a little bit on the doors of what this could potentially become in your hands as well. You know, we're no longer dictated by the samples to just do what they're telling us. We can tweak them and make them into entirely new things. Like, who would have known? Such beauty.